Lauren, welcome back. Today I'm doing another collection declutter style video. I'm not sure how much of a declutter this will be. We'll just see as time goes on, but I'm going to be going through my powder blushes, bronzers, and highlights today, letting you know my thoughts on them, what I think about them, what I like about them, what I don't, just kind of giving you an overview of the products that I have and possibly decluttering a few. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you want to check out other collection videos or declutters that I've done in the past, I have a whole playlist of them. I'll have it linked in the description, but I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get started. So all of my powder blushes, bronzers, they're all mixed in here, so there's really no way to organize the way that I talk about it or the order that I talk about these products. Normally I keep them all pretty much separate, but I wanted to organize them, put them all in one area, so for the purpose of the video. So let's just start with this product. It's the Makeup Obsession Mega Lightening Highlighter. This one's really good. It's kind of a little bit more over the top, I would say. It's kind of like an extraterrestrial type looking highlight where it really does give you kind of a concentrated strobing effect on the cheeks, and I like that on occasion. Definitely not for every day. But I think that even though it's kind of like a baked formula in here, it still is very, it's relatively smooth, and I would like the way that it looks on my skin. So it is one that I'm going to be keeping around. There's not many things I love from a Makeup Obsession, but this is a product that I did enjoy or do enjoy. And then also, I forgot to mention this at the start, but all the products that I mentioned today that are currently available, I'll have them linked in the description, but just know that any link that has a star beside of it is an affiliate link. I have more information on what an affiliate link is if you're interested in that in the description, but yeah, that's basically just wanted to get that out of the way. So then I have the NYX Baked Blush. Here is what it looks like. It's supposed to be like a baked blush, also a illuminator, also a bronzer. For me, this shade right here, it is pink as can be. It is definitely a blush. It really doesn't fit any other need for me, but I know some of the other ones that they had in this collection were shades that were definitely leaning more towards a bronzer or a highlighter type shade. It's just a baked powder formula. I really did like it. Honestly, I've had it for a really long time. I don't think it's available anymore, so there's not even a reason to keep it around for review purposes. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass this along. I don't think it's expired or anything. I feel like powder products last a little bit longer. So yeah, I'm going to put this in the declutter section. So next, let's talk about a blush from Milani. This is the Milani Rose Powder Blush. I really like a lot of face products from Milani. There's just something about them that I love. This is no exception. I find that the formula on this is really nice. It wears well throughout the day. I really can build it up to my liking, and it's a pretty blendable formula as well. So this is Romantic Rose, and I just think it's a really nice everyday shade for my complexion, so I definitely am going to keep it around. Here's one I am going to declutter. Oops, it's upside down. This is from Kylie Cosmetics. I don't even think this is available anymore just because it's been around for a while. This is their highlighter, and I think what is called Cotton Candy Cream. It's actually it's an okay highlighter. I definitely have so many more that I way prefer, even from the drugstore. This is definitely not a product that woos me entirely, but because I never ever talk about it, and I don't even think I could talk about it for review purposes because it's not available anymore, I'm just going to pass this along to someone who I think could get more use out of it. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I'm about to pick up some more bronzers because pretty much all of my shimmery, really almost all of my bronzers are heavily dented and pan. This is one just like the others like that. It's the Sunlight Bronzer from Becca. Not available anymore, but it's a really good bronzer if you find it on sale somewhere at a discount store like TJ Maxx or Marshall's or something. I recommend. The shade that I have is Bali Sands. If I could get it again, I really think I would. I just find that it lends itself really nicely because it is a little bit more, it's not orangey, but it's a little bit more orange toned and warm, and I love the way that it looks during this time of year on my skin. So this is what I'm going to keep, but I feel like I'm going to have to get rid of it eventually because it's getting close to pan. Now for this bronzer from Tarte. This is one I've had for quite a while, but it still has not gone bad, and I'm able to get a lot of use out of it. It's the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. It's their Amazonian Clay Bronzer, and this is the waterproof version. It has this kind of textured look to it, so that's natural. I feel like it's always been that way. It's a little bit, again, another more warm tone orangey bronzer that I do feel like I have to be a little bit careful when it comes to application. Otherwise, it can look a little Oompa Loompa-y. But if I'm, if I take my time with it, if I blend it out, then it looks really nice and just kind of gives a warmth look to my face, which is why I'm keeping it and I enjoy it. So next we have a blush. This one I got a while back. I mean, it launched a while ago, and I actually kind of use it a decent amount. It's the Caitlyn Jenner Collection blush from MAC in the shade Buddy, or yeah, Buddy. For some reason I was like, does this say Brody? That wouldn't make a lot of sense, but here's what it looks like. It's really pretty, especially when you mix the shimmery part and this kind of more rosy matte shade together. I really like the way that it looks. I don't know, there's something about the packaging though that I just don't really love, but the actual shade really drew me in, and I still use it a decent amount, so until I feel like it goes bad, then I'm going to keep using it. This is another one that I've hit pan on. It's a matte blush from Palladio, I'm pretty sure it's Palladio, but this is in the shade, I don't even know if this is available anymore. It's in the shade Peach Ice, and honestly, I feel like it's a little bit, like it's like a peachy pink for sure, but it definitely has a pretty pinkness to it. It's not too warm. It looks pretty warm on camera, but in person it's a lot more just neutral in color, and I just think it looks so good every day. It definitely is a matte blush, but for when you're wanting a more natural looking matte blush, I think it looks so nice. If it's still available and I run out of this, then I do want to get another, but I'm keeping it until obviously use it up. Okay, here's the Color Icon blush from Wet n Wild. It's in the shade Mellow Wine, and I do like this blush. I kind of want to get it in the newer packaging because I think this one is not in the best shape anymore. So until I get one of the newer versions of this blush, I'm going to keep it around, but when I do get the newer version, I will declutter. Whenever that is. Okay, here is the Elf Primer Infused Blush in the shade Always Rosy. This is actually my second one of these. It's just kind of this really pretty rose tone blush. I feel like it just gives the perfect blush to the cheeks. I especially love it during like the fall and winter time. I think it just pairs really nicely with more of the like cool tone looks that I like to do, even though the blush itself isn't really cool tone. I don't know, there's something about it that I love, and I really like the formula. It does, I feel like, last a pretty decent while. This is one that I really think I said I was going to declutter in a previous video, and then I just never did. Really because, one, I don't like the formula. I feel like it's incredibly chalky. It's the Hikari blush, and I believe the shade Tango. But on top of that, like the shade, like obviously this is not a shade I'm going to wear very often. It is like a neon pink, very bright, and it definitely, like, I don't know, it just, the chalkiness on it and the color makes it a no-go for me. I think I'm finally decluttering this for good. Now, as for one that kind of took me by surprise, it's a blush from Laurenesklar. It's one of their baked blushes. Yeah, the baked blush and brighten in the shade Fruit Punch. Not sure about the availability on this one, but to be honest, or a little bit more of like a punchy pink blush, I think it's so pretty, and I really like the way that I'm able to build it up to my liking. It's not super intense right off the start. You can definitely build it up to gradually get more like color payoff, and it's pretty blendable as well. You know, you definitely can get a good bit of pigment, so you have to be a little bit careful, but it's one that I really do enjoy and I'm going to keep around. Next, for one of my favorite everyday highlighters, and especially one that's relatively affordable, definitely the pricing on it is much, you know, lower than pretty much any other high-end drugstore or whatever, and I feel like the formula on this is really nice. It's the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter in the shade Be My Highlight. I believe this is the only shade they have, which isn't great, but it's kind of like a baked powder formula, except I really feel like the actual, like the way that it applies isn't as much like a baked product. It just applies really smooth, doesn't emphasize texture or anything, and I really like kind of the more like tannish tint that this has, so then it looks a little bit more natural, not as like whitish and unnatural. Now for an Hourglass blush, this is one I really enjoy. When I saw the shade in store however long ago, I've had this for a while, but it still works really well. When I saw it initially, I was like, ooh, this isn't really going to be the one for me, just because I saw the kind of the magenta-y looking shade in there. And honestly, when it's mixed with like the lighter shade, it gives this really pretty soft pink shade that I just think looks so nice and gives just a really pretty like flush with a satiny finish to the cheeks. Really do enjoy this. Do I think it's worth the higher price tag? Probably not. I think you could find something like that at a more affordable price tag, but kind of for the luxe packaging feel, I like it, and I mean, I enjoy it. I don't know if I'd repurchase, but it gets love in my collection. Okay, now for two blushes from Elf. These are the Mineral Infused Blushes. This is the one in the older packaging. This is one newer. This is Twinkle Pink, which, okay, it is chalky, and, you know, the sparkles definitely are apparent, but honestly, when you put it on the face, they really kind of go away. Like, they're there, but they're not like, oh, out of this world sparkles. And then this one really doesn't have the same level of like high intense sparkle because I think the formula is slightly different. And it's the shade, I can't remember, I'm gonna have to look at it in a second, but you can see it's just kind of, it reminds me of, it's like a mauve-y shade. What's the actual shade? Mellow Mauve. Yeah, it's mauve-y, but a little bit peachy. Don't use it quite as often as I use this one, but it's still pretty good. So next I want to talk about a Lancome highlighter. It's the Dual Finished illuminator in the shade Sparkling Peche or Peche. I'm not really sure, peach. It's something along those lines. I think this is super pretty. It like meshes with the skin really nicely, just like goes in, looks glowy but not too over the top. But if you wanted like kind of a more dimensional type look, you can wet your brush with like either setting spray or whatever you want to do, however you normally damp your brush, and then that will really like amp up the texture and the pigment on this one. So that's kind of why it's called dual finish. Really pretty. I know they have some other shades as well. It is a pricey one though, and I do think, you know, for the price, yes, it is nice, but it's also, I feel like I have ones that I like just as much that do not cost me as much. Okay, now we have two blushes from Jane Iredale. These were sent to me a while back by the brand, but I had no obligation to talk about them or anything like that. These, let's see. Okay, this one is my favorite. It is the shade Cotton Candy. I bring this with me all the time. It is like a shimmery blush that just looks so natural. I don't know, it looks like you're like sparkling, but you're also just flushed, but it looks so natural while also giving kind of that luminous effect to the cheeks, which I love. But then as for this one right here, I believe this is in the shade Clearly Pink. I don't use this one quite as much, really just because, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit more of like a, more of like a brighter color with some sparkle that sometimes intimidates me, but I really want to challenge myself to use it more because I love the formula on the blush so much. So I feel like if I were to go out of my comfort zone like that, this would be a good way to do it. Now for my other Milani blush, this one is the like baked blush, and I have the shade in Berry Amore. Honestly, I really like the formula on this blush. I feel like it works so well, just, you know, easy to build up, easy to blend, just easy to use. And I do like the shade, but I wish I would have gotten the shade that everyone talks about, Luminoso. I'm not totally sure why I got this shade. I guess I thought that like it would be more berry in tone, but it definitely isn't. It's one that I probably won't keep around for too much longer, but I do want to pick up the Luminoso because that just seems like something that would be so much more my alley, and I've yet to try it. All right, next up we've got the Maybelline Fit Me Blush. This is in the shade Mauve, and it's really not much of a mauve shade. I honestly think it's kind of more of a kind of coolish pink shade. It's more neutral, but in the pan it looks a little bit cooler. I just think the way that this like applies on the skin is really nice. It gives just the right amount of satiny finish and just this flush that is super natural and pretty, but you can build it up a little bit more if you want more of a pigment, but it's a good formula that is pretty underrated. Okay, here's a highlighter from Sephora that I got a while back. Honestly, I don't think it's available anymore, and like my lid, it's kind of dingy. Or actually, I thought my lid had broken off, but it hadn't. It's in the shade Light Beam. This is one I use kind of a lot because it has these very like apparent sparkles in it. Like you can definitely see the shimmer when you apply it to your cheeks, and it's just like more there than sometimes some of the other ones are. They're a little bit smoother, don't have kind of the chunky, it's not glitter, and it's not super chunky, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable or anything, like you don't feel the glitter, but you can see it, which for a certain look can be really nice. Now for a Milani bronzer, this is the Silky Matte Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Sunlight. And this is one I use quite a bit. It's kind of a good everyday matte bronzer that I don't, like sometimes I don't really use my more expensive matte bronzers every day because I just feel like I use them a lot, especially when they are similar to this in formula where you do have to build it up a little bit. That's what I like. I like being able to go in with a heavier hand, not have to worry about it not blending well or whatever. And so this is a good one for everyday usage. Honestly, I've really considered repurchasing it. It's one of my favorites. But I kind of want to try something different. So when I run out of this, I might try another drugstore's like matte bronzer. And if I don't like it, then I'll just go back and purchase this one. But I feel like it wouldn't hurt to try something different, but definitely keeping this because it's good. Okay, here I have a blush from Lancome. This is kind of newer to me. I don't even really know how it came into my life. It's the Blush Subtle in the shade Sheer Amarose, I think. Here's what it looks like. I've used it like once. I really want to try it out a little bit more before I just like completely get rid of it, just because I haven't tried it and I kind of want to. I don't think I've ever tried a blush from Lancome. I could be wrong, but I don't think I have, so keeping it around for a little longer. Okay, now for a bronzer that's no longer available, but I wish Bare Minerals would bring it back. It's the Invisible Bronze Bronzer. I have mine in the medium shade. It's a baked bronzer, and when I tell you, like, I use this all the time. I feel like it is just such a good, easy to use bronzer. I don't know. I feel like application with this could not be easier. And I really like the way that this particular shade works with my complexion. So if you're seeing this Bare Minerals or someone connected to Bare Minerals, tell them to bring it back. Okay, here is a blush from Buxom. It's the Wanderlust Primer Infused in the shade Ibiza. I'm probably butchering that name. I apologize. It's kind of more of like a poppy. It reminds me a lot of that Clearly Pink blush from Jane Iredale. And really, with this one, you just have to be so careful. Like, yes, you can blend it, but when you initially apply it to your cheeks, wherever you put it, you're going to really have to blend if you wanted to go somewhere different. Like, the pigmentation and the wear time on this is definitely there. I wish they had some other shades because this was really, and this isn't even my type of shade. Like, clearly, you've seen what my type of shade is, and this really isn't it. But, I mean, they didn't have a ton of other ones that were pulling to me and still have not launched more, so I wish they would because I definitely feel like I'd get more use out of it in another shade because I do like the formula. But, I mean, for now, yeah, I'm keeping the shade because it's good enough. But, oops. Just knocked my camera. If they come out with more, I will be trying them out. Okay, here's a blush. I don't even know. I mean, it literally just says blush on it. Let's see here. It is the Cosmopolitan 01 from Model Co. I believe I got this in Ipsy a while back. It is probably, yeah, this has got to have gone bad. I mean, just looking at it, it does not seem like a product I should be using on my face, so I am going to be decluttering it. Okay, so I have a couple different NARS mini blushes. This one right here, oh, actually, this is one of my mini bronzers. It is in the shade Laguna. I do get a good bit of use out of this. I just feel like it's a bronzer that works a little bit more like a contour than any of the other ones that I have. I love the formula on it. If I run out, I probably will end up getting the more full-size version, but obviously keeping. So now moving on to a blush from MAC. Here is it's in the shade Blush All Day. It's not available anymore, I don't think. And it's from like the Pro Longwear blush line. I love it. I use it all the time, especially during the fall and winter time. There's just something about it that I love. I've heard that there's a shade that's kind of similar to it. The name, I think it's Mocha, but it's kind of drawing a blank on me. I want to get another because this is so great. And I know that I've had this for a while, so it's probably leaning towards expiration. So here is one of those mini blushes from NARS that I was mentioning a second ago. This is in the shade Bulu. I think this was like a limited edition or something along those lines, but I use this blush seriously all the time. Like, when in doubt, this blush is probably on my cheeks, at least in combination with, or at least on its own, maybe in combination with another blush. It is like my go-to as of late, really for the past year. So really good. If they had a full size or I find one that's a similar shade, I'll let you guys know. So here I have my butter bronzers. I have the new packaging and then I have the old packaging of the butter bronzers. This one quite literally just broke, so I'm not going to open either of them up. I really need to get a new one. These are my favorite bronzers. Like, for real, use them every day pretty much, whether it be like really building them up for more of like a full glam look or just something for every day. Like, they're really perfect. So I was kind of going back and forth, but it got to be a pain because the product would keep separating, and I could try and repress it, but honestly at this point, like, I've just used it to the very end. I have mine in just the shade bronzer, but yes, definitely need to end up picking up another one of these. I'm going to keep this one in here until I get the other one, but this one I don't even want to fiddle with anymore. I'm going to declutter. Okay, now I have this one from Too Faced. I've talked about this a lot. It's definitely my favorite matte bronzer formula. It's just the Chocolate Soleil in the milk chocolate shade. I like this shade in particular. This is another one, Hit Pan On. I really like it. I've repurchased it a lot of times, but this shade in particular I think is perfect for my complexion and that I can really build it up to my liking. It's a little bit warmer, but not too, you're not going to look like an Oompa Loompa if you take the time, blend it out, that kind of a deal. This one, when I run out, I probably will purchase another because it's just my go-to that way. Okay, here I have a Wet n Wild highlight powder. This, I don't even know the shade of it. I think it was like a limited edition one, but my lid broke the other day and I really don't use the product too often. So I think I'm just going to set it aside for now because it's kind of a pain when, your lids on your products don't work. And if it's one you're really not using that often, it just kind of becomes a mess. So I am going to just set this aside. Maybe I won't declutter it, but I'm really considering it. Now onto two box products from Hoola, or from Benefit. First is the Hoola bronzing powder. Here's what it looks like. This is not my all-time favorite bronzer, but it's good enough. I use it on occasion, and honestly, I think the packaging is real cute. So until I feel like it goes bad or I really don't use it at all, then I'm going to keep it around. Now for one of the boxed, I don't think this one's available anymore. It's the Rockateur, and I really want to get another one from the Box Blushes line because I really do like the formula. But this one in particular, it is so pretty. It really used to be my go-to travel blush. There was just something about it. Still to use it quite a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Sad you guys can't get it. Then we have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Highlighter. This is like a smaller size, and this is in the shade Incandescent Light. I use this highlighter so often. I just feel like it's perfect when you kind of want just a little bit of a glow to the cheeks, just a little bit of something extra that still is pretty natural. It's kind of this white champagne shade, and it has like pearlescent finish to it. Really enjoy that. Obviously gonna keep it. Here's one from Lancome. Not sure if it's available anymore. It's their Glow Settle in the shade Glowing Lights. Let's see if I can get it open. It's kind of like a cream to powder. I really should have like kind of left it with my other highlighters, but this one is super nice. I like just applying it with like one of my fingers like onto my skin because I feel like the warmth from my hands with this product allows it to like blend really nicely with the rest of my makeup more seamlessly. I enjoy this a lot. If it's still available, I definitely recommend trying it out. And there's a chance you might be able to find it at one of the, more discount type stores. Now I have just this Laura Mercier, like illuminator. And here's what it looks like. I use it more as like a body bronzer, where I'll just take like a brush and apply it onto my chest if I feel like I need to, bronze it up a little bit. It's in the shade Indiscretion, but yes, it's technically an illuminator. They have other shades that would work more with fairer complexions like my own, but I don't own those. Now we have a highlight from NARS. This is the shade Albatross. Really pretty. Like, it looks like super stark and intense, but it's really not too intense. I find that it kind of has this nice like champagne-y finish to it, even though it looks super white, and it's not too stark, so it's real pretty. I have mine in like the older packaging, but I'm pretty sure it's available in the newer version as well. Now for this highlighter from Becca. Obviously Becca's not around anymore, but I'm pretty sure that Smashbox has now taken on this product, the Champagne Pop highlighter. Really pretty. I mean, it is pricey, but I do really like the way that this product looks on the skin. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of the Lancome, the Sparkling Peach or Pesh shade. It's so, I don't know, there's something about it, like it's just sparkly enough and it's just warm enough, but it doesn't look too crazy. Okay, now I have two bronzers. These are from Makeup Revolution. They're just baked bronzers. These are so nice. Both of their lids are broken, so I'm not going to really show you, and they're not available anymore. But they're so nice for using to kind of bronze up your chest or other areas of your body. Really good body bronzers. So that's what I keep them around for. So then I have a little smaller size of the Matte Radiance Powder from Laura Mercier. Here's what it looks like. It's really, I mean, the formula on this is kind of a baked highlight formula, and this is another one that just I feel like works really well as the way that it appears on the skin and works with the other makeup. I love the way that it photographs. There's something about like this kind of more warm toned, it's not super warm toned, but it's a little bit warmer than some of the other highlights that I have, and something about the baked formula. It's still so smooth on the skin and provides this like smooth look while still highlighting the areas and bringing light to the areas of the face where you want that. This, like I said, smaller size, but they do have a larger size version. I don't think you can like buy the smaller though. And this is one, y'all might think I'm crazy, but this broke a while back, and I know I should try repressing it, but I really don't use it that often. It used to be a shade that I adored, and now I'm just like, I don't even want to fiddle with it. So to be completely honest, I'm just gonna declutter this one. It has had its time in my collection. Love the formula, really liked the color. It was the shade Beaming Blush. Might end up getting another shade of this formula because it's nice, but this one, it is time to go. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see them all, but I'm getting rid of 7 different products here, decluttering 7 different ones. So I feel like I did okay. Could have done better, honestly, but again, I've talked about this before. It's kind of a reminder to me whenever I declutter, like, okay, you don't need to buy more of this type of product because you have plenty of it, and there are products that you want to use and get more use out of, and if you bring more into your life, you can. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you want to check out my other declutters and collection videos, I'll have that playlist linked in the description. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!